What's up, YouTube? It's Thomas DeLauer. Today, talking a little bit more about fasting and talking about ketosis. So this time, I really want to make sure that I give everyone a chance to at least voice their questions so that I can do my best to answer them. I want to wait for an audience to build, wait for a few more people to get on here before I really start going into exactly what I want to talk about. Alex Vega, what's going on in Houston? Louis, what's going on? Louis in New Jersey, what's happening? What's going on? Del from Detroit, good to see you here. Gabriel, what's going on? Winnipeg, Canada, what's going on? Mick, what's going on? Awesome to see everybody here. We've got a ton of people already. Thank you guys for hopping on here. So I want to make sure, as usual, when I do these broadcasts, just in case you've never been on one of my my live coaching videos before or anything like that, I got to get a lot of people on here, get as many people as possible, then I start getting into the science. Otherwise, what ends up happening is I start going on down the road of the topic that I'm talking about, and not everyone's getting to see it. So I want to make sure we get as many people here as possible. Now, one of the things I'm a huge fan of doing is making sure that everyone that is here is commenting where they're watching from, which everyone is doing an awesome job of doing right now. Bruce, what's going on in Buffalo? What's going on? We've got Frederick, what's going on? Good to see you here. We've got Wellington, New Zealand, Newfoundland, Canada, Ottawa, Ketosis in the house. Got a lot of people just saying Ketosis, awesome. Lodi, California. Andrew, good to see you here. We've got Nico, what's going on? We've got Danielle in Richmond Hill, good to see you. We've got Jim in Ohio. Wow, this is crazy. Vallejo, California. Arturo, what's going on? I'm originally from the Bay Area myself. What's going on? Adam Keller, what's going on? Traverse, Michigan. What's going on? North Carolina, Orlando, Buffalo, New York. I appreciate all the compliments that are coming in. Hello from Egypt. Wow, awesome. Robert in Philadelphia, good to see you. Rodrigo in Argentina. Frederick, Wisconsin. Baltimore, Barry. Wow, you guys are amazing. Hey guys, if you can, make sure that you hit that like button. We get a lot of engagement going on this video, and then I'm going to get into the science as much as I can. Those of you that know my personal story, know what's going on right now. My wife is inches away from going into labor. We're just kind of sitting here waiting for baby DeLauer to come on the way. So quite honestly, I was expecting the baby to be here already, so I'm just kind of here. It's like, okay, time to do a live broadcast, pass the time a little bit, do some coaching, talk to some people, get some good information out there while I'm waiting for this awesome baby to come. So anyway, we've got so many people here. Let me get down to the basics of what I want to talk about today, and then we'll get the questions coming in. So I want you guys to give me a chance to explain what I want to explain first and foremost. I want to talk today about the timing surrounding fasting and the timing surrounding ketosis. And a lot of this might be a little bit redundant information because I've talked about it in some videos before and I've addressed it in different ways, but I know that a lot of people have specific questions when it comes down to what time should I train or how should I train when I'm fasting. Let me start with the big elephant in the room, which is the one that people ask all the time. I have so many emails that come in, so many comments that hit my page, so many comments that hit my channel talking about when they should work out when they're intermittent fasting. Should they train in the morning or should they train towards the end of their fasting window? Well, let me break this down a little bit for you because it's a little bit interesting in how it works. When you are fasting, there's two different things that you can do. You can train at the beginning of your fasting window. Okay, actually, let me back up for a second. I'm going to assume, for the sake of argument, for the sake of this video, that you're gonna be fasting starting in the evening time and fasting through the night, fasting through the morning, and then breaking your fast mid-afternoon, okay? Let's just say, and let's say hypothetically for the sake of this fast, that everybody's doing an 18-hour fast, okay? So everybody stops eating at like 10 p.m. and they fast all the way through maybe like 4 p.m.-ish or something like that, okay? Let's just, for the sake of argument. So that means that you'd be training in the afternoon. Well, we have two different options there. You can either train first thing in the morning when you're sort of halfway through your fast and be able to go through the course of the day in a fasted state, or you can train fasted at the end of your fast right before you eat. There's pros and cons to each. Now, I know we've got a lot of people joining in, so everyone just, feel free to keep on commenting where you're watching from, everything like that. If I don't reply immediately to you where you're watching from, etc., just bear with me because I'm explaining some science really quick. So here's what we have to look at. We have two different goals. Personally, I'll tell you what I like to do. I train in the morning, even when I'm fasting. So that means that I end up going through the course of the day in a calorie deficit, already fasted, and had already worked out. People may say, well, that makes no sense because you have to be careful. You've got this anabolic window. You've got to be able to make sure you eat right after your workout. That is nothing but a load of horse caca. I can't say it here, okay? It's not true. You do not absolutely need to be eating right after your workout. In fact, there are multiple studies that have shown that protein synthesis occurs for up to 24, sometimes even longer hours after your workout. You do not need to eat right after your workout. I prefer to train in the morning when I'm fasted and ultimately end up still hungry and really wanting my body to actually leverage that fat burning process throughout the rest of the day. And then I break my fast as I normally would at the end of the fasting period, okay? So that's me. Now there's two different situations here. That particular situation is great for someone that's trying to maximize the most amount of fat loss, period. It's harder, I will say that. It's more difficult simply because you're in a position where, yes, your body is a little bit more hungry. Yes, you did work out. You may find that you're a little bit more tired, but I promise you, it gets a lot better after doing it for 2 or 3 days, significantly better. So that's something that you need to be paying attention to, okay? Now, on the contrary, if you're someone that wants to be able to fast and then work out in the afternoon, maybe your schedule doesn't permit you to work out in the morning, or maybe you absolutely just have to work out in the afternoon, that's not bad either, okay? But you're gonna have to be paying close attention to what kind of food you put in your body after that workout. Now, working out in the afternoon when you're fasting, at the end of your fast, has its pros and cons. Here's the pro. The pro, you're in an extended fast at that point. So you've got all the benefits of a fast working for you. Super awesome, right? The downside is you're not going to have nearly as much strength. You're not gonna feel like you're able to get nearly as much of a workout. Now, if you're weight training, that can be a serious problem. If you're doing cardio, who cares? You're just doing easy cardio. You don't need to be, you're not training to be an Olympian sprinter. It's nothing like that. You're just trying to get yourself to a point where you absolutely want to be able to work out, get the most benefit. So I'll leave it with this as far as weight training and fasting is concerned. If you are a serious weight trainer, someone that's lifting heavier weights, someone that is lifting anything more than the 12 to 15 rep range, heavier than that, do your best to train in the morning. Do your best, simply because it's going to elicit a metabolic response that's going to allow you to really continue to burn fat throughout the course of the day. Let me say hello to some people. Everyone that's here, sorry I've been rambling, so I didn't get a chance to say hi to everyone. If you just joined in while I was going through my little rant there, please comment and let me know where you're watching from, so that I can say hello. I saw a good question come in. I want to come back to that one in a minute. What's going on, Miami? Ray from Virginia, northeasternmost state, Maine. Awesome to see you here. Detroit, what's going on? Lucia, good to see you here. One chip will break your fast, my friend. Santa Cruz Fire Station, awesome. Thank you for your service to your community. Sarasota, Florida. We got, wow, Ohio, Seattle, Iceland, more Seattle, Australia, Kansas. You guys are amazing. Thank you guys. New York City, Brazil, South Carolina. Bill in Parker, Colorado, what's going on, my man? We've got Connecticut in the house. Mike from Kenya, Arcadia, California, New Zealand, Arcadia, actually I have a cousin that lives up there, Kansas City, Kansas, Israel, Stephen, Jersey, London. You guys are amazing, guys. Keep this coming. I love seeing where everyone's watching from. Someone asked, Lucia, you asked a great question. How often should you intermittent fast? I think I addressed this on a lot of my live broadcasts because it comes up a lot. So again, for those of you that have heard this question, heard me answer this, please bear with me. Sometimes it gets a little redundant as I try to answer as many questions as I can. Intermittent fasting should be done, quote unquote, intermittently. Intermittent fasting doesn't mean that you're eating intermittently. Intermittent fasting means that you're strategically intermittent fasting, meaning throughout the course of the week, you're taking select days and fasting. I don't like to fast more than 3 or 4 days per week. When I was going through my transformation, when I was losing a lot of weight, I was fasting a lot. I was fasting 5-6 days a week sometimes. It worked. I lost 100 pounds. It worked big time. But do I recommend it for health? Not necessarily. Okay, it does work well, but it may not be a long-term thing. Now that's my take on that. How long do you fast to induce ketosis? Christy Rothschild, you ask a tremendous question. That's a really good question. It all depends on the person. You see, your body has to burn through its liver glycogen before it can ever start to create ketones. And there are a lot of different hormonal factors, a lot of different things that can affect that. So for me, for example, no matter how conditioned into ketosis I am, it takes me at least 48 to 72 hours to get into ketosis. Initially, for a lot of people, it can take 5, 6, sometimes even a week. I mean, it can even take that long for people to truly get into ketosis. Please talk about PSMF versus water fasting to save muscle. That's actually a super good question, talking about just like time restrictive eating and stuff like that. I will make a note of this right now. You guys, coming up in a couple of weeks, I've created a video that is on time-restricted eating, because Joe Rogan did a podcast on time-restricted eating, which I love Joe Rogan. I love that guy, and it was a great topic. And I feel like a lot of people get confused between time-restricted eating and fasting. They're two totally different things. Time-restricted eating is like basically just eating less and just controlling your time periods, whereas fasting is a lot more strategic. Someone asked why their sleep is so terrible when they're in ketosis. I've talked about this a lot too in many of my videos. So again, for those of you that hear me kind of get redundant, this video isn't designed to give you totally fresh information that you're not seeing in my other videos. It's designed to be able to answer questions, and I take some notes of some of the common questions that come through my channel and everything like that. People get extra sleep, or people don't sleep well when they're in ketosis a lot of times because A, they're mineral deficient. A lot of times they lose their magnesium, but the big one is you're not producing enough serotonin simply because your body isn't taking up the tryptophan. So in other words, when you're in ketosis, your body it doesn't have insulin or has much insulin. So that insulin does not allow the tryptophan, an amino acid, to get into your brain. When that happens, you don't produce nearly as much serotonin, so you don't sleep very well. Serotonin is what makes you feel calm. It helps you sleep. It helps you relax. Hey guys, can I ask you really quick? We've got so many people on here. We've got like 800 people on this broadcast and only 364 thumbs up, little like signals. Can everyone hit that thumbs up button? I don't want to be a needy little sucker here, but the reason is simple. It helps YouTube's algorithm seeing that, hey, there's a lot of people watching this. It's true, good content. I'm not like a robot people literally create robots to go on YouTube and do live broadcasts simply to satisfy the algorithm. So everybody, oh wow, that was awesome. Like 300 thumbs up just came in. You guys are so awesome. Bruce, you're making fun of me saying I'm so needy. I am so needy, you know? I'm just here putting out free content and just, you know, God, I'm asking so much of you guys. But anyway, Phoenix Rising, you're asking about how intermittent fasting affects women. You know, I feel like I actually do have to touch on this really quick. So for all the men that are in here that might get, you know, distracted for a second while I talk about something that's specific to women, listen closely because at some point this will make sense to you as well. Women and intermittent fasting, a lot of times if it's done frequently, don't mix as much as you think. I hate to say that, but women should not intermittent fast more than 1 or 2 days per week, to be completely honest. Some can do more, but I would safely say 1 to 2 days per week. And the reason is simple. Women have a lot more of a sensitive thyroid, and that thyroid becomes very, very disrupted if you fast a lot. Now, I will say this, your thyroid will come back. The thyroid is a very unique gland. It doesn't have the same kind of blood supply and the same kind of response that other glands and other organs do. In fact, it's called a ghost gland. Basically, the thyroid you could remove 99.999% of your thyroid and it would still start to grow back. It has its unique ability to sort of resurrect. So the thyroid comes back, but intermittent fasting will only get you so far as a female, simply because at some point you end up having a little bit of a negative aspect. Someone asked about the Mediterranean diet on intermittent fasting. Well, let me tell you what I'm a big fan of. And you guys, since I have so many people on this video right now, it's a perfect time for you guys to hear some honest truth from me, to hear some die-hard, honest gospel truth so that you know that I'm not just full of baloney when I talk about this stuff, because I never want to lead you to believe that I'm something that I'm not. I like to be fully honest with you. I live a ketogenic lifestyle, but I am not in ketosis all year round. In fact, I frequently come out of ketosis when I feel my body needs it. I am not one of these guys that says you should be 100% in ketosis all the time. I love ketosis. I'm fascinated by the science behind it, and I love what it does for therapeutic things, and I love what it does for massive weight loss, because ketosis and fasting have been a lifesaver for me with my transformation. That does not mean that I live that lifestyle all the time. When I am not in ketosis, I am generally eating a little bit more of an actual Mediterranean diet, meaning super low glycemic, still moderate fats, but the right fats. That's my jam. That's what I do. I had a good question that just came in. Someone says they have antiphospholipid syndrome. How can I do keto while on warfarin? That's a good question. That's a very specific question, but I'm going to address that really, really quick. The most important thing for you is you're going to want to make sure that most of your fats that you're getting are coming from either easy to digest fats, okay, avocado, MCT, very, very, very important. Also going to want to make sure you take digestive enzymes if you do not digest fats well, very important. So essentially what I end up doing is I end up cycling through some slow carbs, where I end up doing things like chickpeas, things like lentils, things like that. You may remember the video I did on lectins a couple weeks ago, which a lot of people didn't like. They thought that I was bagging on beans and bagging on stuff. Heck no, I was trying to debunk the fact that people say lectins are bad all the time. Lectins aren't bad. I eat a lot of lectins. It just has to be done in moderation. You have to cook them right. So Nick Bentley, you say I lost 100 pounds. It's funny, yeah, a lot of people don't know my full story. Guys, I was 280 pounds before. I wasn't, let me show you something. I'm gonna show you guys, hang on, my battery was going low. I'm gonna show you some stretch marks that I have. And this is just to show you, this isn't to be weird, this is to prove to you that I was very, very overweight before. These are stretch marks all over my arm, okay? All those are all stretch marks, okay? Stand up on my stool here for a second. You can see those right there, all stretch marks. So, just being honest with you guys. So I went through a pretty massive transformation. So people don't always know that about me, probably because I don't go and advertise it all over the place. But yeah, so ketosis, fasting were huge things for me. And I'm sorry if I upset anyone by showing skin for a minute, but I just needed to, people don't believe me when I say it. So I wanted to be totally honest with you guys. And that was a huge trip. That's how I learned what I learned. I used to be in the healthcare industry. I was in the medical industry. I was an executive with a big recruitment firm. And then I owned an ancillary lab services company. And that's how I met so many of the amazing doctors that I know today that taught me what I know today. People say, Thomas, you speak like you've got a medical background. Well, I'm not a medical doctor, but I came out of the holistic medical field. I spent most of my life there. So someone asked if coffee will break your fast. Coffee does not break your fast. Just make sure that you're not adding any kind of sweetener to it, or you're not adding creamer to it. That's the big one. Someone says, how can we put on muscle mass in ketosis? That's a video that's going to be coming out here soon. It all comes down to how you time your post-workout meals and when you time your carbs, okay? Because you should have a couple of carbs now and then, not enough to kick you out of full-blown keto, but enough to allow your body to actually materialize and synthesize some muscle. Will keto coffee break your fast? Yes, it absolutely will. Amber says, most doctors don't know what I know. Yeah. At some point, I'll have to explain the full story of the doctors that I used to work with and why I learned sort of this alternative approach to wellness. You know, most of you guys that watch my channel know that I'm not the typical fitness guy. I'm not the typical health guy. It's like I'm in this kind of gray area where it's like I'm too health oriented for most of the fitness industry, and I'm too fitness oriented for most of the health industry. So I've just kind of had to pave my own way of bridging that gap. And here I am flying solo in my kitchen, all alone, doing YouTube videos. So anyway, guys, okay. Chrissy, awesome, thank you. You say you're an RN and you still respect the content. Awesome, good to see that. Does BHB, beta hydroxybutyrate, break a fast? Tough question. Technically, in my honest opinion, it would, but as far as a lot of the studies go, no, you'd be okay. MCT oil will break a fast, yes it will. Someone asked about vaping and keto, they've asked a lot. I mean, it depends, you know, like, guys, I'm a huge fan of using like an oral CBD oil, like a cannabidiol oil. I don't vape, I don't do any of that, so I don't personally know, I don't know if there's a lot of research on that, but CBD oil is a very powerful anti-inflammatory that works very well in conjunction with keto. The problem is that it's expensive, and there's still sort of the political biases that go along with it, and it can be a little bit tough, so I try not to really even talk about it too much. Do I personally, someone asked if I do cheat meals. I want to go back up to that because it's a great one. Do I personally do cheat meals? And if yes, what do I like to binge on? You know, I'm scrolling. I just did a video on this and it's going to come out next week, is the psychology of cheat meals. I'm going to tell you right now to stop you in your tracks. Don't think of it as a cheat meal anymore, okay? I want to just address this. This is Coaching Thomas coming out for a second, addressing all of you here. Don't refer to it as a cheat meal. It messes with your psychology, because then you start associating all the other food that you're eating as not being healthy, or I'm sorry, as not being fun. You associate it as overly healthy, and you start looking at this cheat meal as, in contrast, so good and everything else so bad. Refer to it as a strategic refeed. It's science, it's strategic. Yes, you do need to have it. When I usually have a cheat meal or a refeed meal, it's usually loads of lentils. I mean, I'm lame like that. Lentils, maybe some quinoa, you know, maybe some red or green split lentils, some chickpea pasta, Trust me, sounds lame, but it's pretty awesome. Hey guys, we have a ton of people on here still. Can we make sure that everyone's here hits that like button as much as possible? It really helps this video out. I'd love to have this video get well over 1,000 likes. That would be super awesome if I could. So I'm just asking you guys if you can do that. London, what's going on in the house? 6 drops of sucralose in your coffee, will it break your fast? Technically, no, it won't. Am I the biggest fan of sucralose? Not necessarily. So Dean, thank you very much for what you just posted up. Jonathan in London, what's going on? You guys are awesome. Thank you. Everyone's encouraging everyone to hit the like button. You guys are amazing. It does. It helps the YouTube algorithm out. So India, what's going on in the house? Baby DeLauer make an appearance yet? Kevin, not yet. This little sucker is just hanging in there. Just for those of you that are just on this video and maybe haven't heard the very beginning, my wife is like minutes away from being in labor. I don't understand. This baby is just, he was due yesterday and he's just hanging on for dear life in there. So we're literally just hanging around waiting for this baby to just decide to come out. So I'm about to be a daddy. I'm excited to be a daddy. Hopefully next time I hop on a live broadcast, I will be a daddy. So, but yeah, that hopefully that, you know, a lot of people weren't on when I started talking about that earlier. So that's kind of what's going on in my personal life. A lot of people saying congratulations. Thank you guys very, very much for all the awesomeness there. Will citrulline malate break a fast? No, it won't. Citrulline malate is okay. Citrulline is actually great when you're on a fast. It's tremendous. It's gonna, help convert into arginine, so it's gonna basically give you a muscle pump without breaking your fast. So it's a very, very good. Pre-workouts, will they break a fast? Depends. As long as they have no carbs, citrulline malate's gonna be fine. You guys are awesome. Someone just said they smashed the like button like a cheat meal. That's awesome. I want to get back to the training and fasting thing for a second, because I don't want to go too far off topic, because we've got so many awesome people here that probably hopped on here to hear about this topic. So when you are fasting and when you're in ketosis, I'm a huge proponent of training in the morning. And I mentioned that in an early part of this video. Even if it means that you're going to be fasting for the rest of the day without having food post-workout. Why? Well, it's simply allowing your body to utilize those fat stores a little bit more. Right when you finish working out, okay, you go through what I call riding the wave, where your body really utilizes fats for quite an extended period of time after that. You have basically this, where you go into oxygen debt. Your body tries to collect as many nutrients as possible for a few hours after the workout. So if you're fasting and you set it up so your workouts are at the very end of your fast, and then you immediately eat, you're kind of shortchanging yourself a couple hours. You're really shortchanging yourself a couple hours of potential fat burning that ordinarily would occur. So if you train in the morning, you're actually more likely to still have the muscle glycogen from the night before, okay? Still have the stored energy from the night before. It's fresher in your body, so your workout will be better, and you're gonna get to ride the wave for a couple hours while you're still fasted. So it's like you're draining the tank, and now your body has to go into the reserves. Whereas if you were to go and work out right at the end of your fast, you're draining the tank and then immediately filling it back up. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Everybody that grasped that, does that make sense? So the general gist of it is, if you're training for fat loss and you're fasting and you're in ketosis, training fasted is the key. Working out fasted is the key. I will tell you, fasting and ketosis are huge. They help me a lot. But what is the single-handed most amazing thing that I have encountered through my years of my transformation and staying lean? It's 100% been training in a fasted state. Why? Because it's difficult, people. It's something that is difficult, that takes some mental fortitude, but it technically, logistically isn't that hard. In fact, it's easier. It's easier to get up in the morning and go hit the gym and work out before eating anything. It's easier logistically. It's easier technically, but it's more difficult up here, because everything in common science, everything in common media tells us we need to be fueled before we work out. Training fasted is the key. It makes a giant difference. And if you can train fasted and then continue to be fasted, that meal that you use when you break your fast later in the day is gonna go straight to enriching and nourishing those muscles. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. Someone says cardio and weights fasted, 100%. There are a subpopulation of people that would not get a benefit from this. People that are typically hypoglycemic may not wanna do this unless they're already in ketosis. A lot of people that train fasted here. We've got a lot of fasted trainers. Anyone that's a fasted trainer in the house, go ahead and say, I train fasted. Just let me know. I think I've got a lot of people that train fasted. Someone says I should be doing a lot more recipes. I would love to. You guys see this awesome studio kitchen that I've got. I mean, this is like the real deal. Check it out. I mean, that's the real McCoy, right? Pretty badass studio kitchen. So it's fully functional, so I might as well be doing some cooking videos, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense. Wow, lots of people training fasted. Okay, you guys are on the right path there. Guys, if you can, do me a favor, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure, if you can, give this a big old share too. Creatine does not break a fast, depending what brand you get. Creatine monohydrate is just straight up creatine. That's gonna be what you're gonna wanna do. Wow, so Craig, good job, man. You said you just started training fasted last week, so that's awesome. You know, so many questions coming in. I'm sorry I'm not able to see all of them. Will Rockstar Zero break a fast? Actually, no, it won't. You're good. How many grams of fat per day? All depends on the person. The one thing I will say in ketosis, most people do not get enough fat. The whole trick with ketosis is you need to be having sufficient fats. You need to be at least 75% of your total calories coming from fats. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to look through some of these questions. Been alternating fasting and ketosis. That's awesome. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Trying to scroll through some of these. Does naproxen break a fast? No, painkillers wouldn't break a fast, but I highly recommend that you probably don't take those fasted. That can mess you up. For women, would love a video of intermittent fasting. Yeah, totally. How many days per week intermittent fasting? Touched on this a little bit earlier. Whoop. Sorry, guys. I guess that's what happens when I mess up my little tripod gimbal here, as it ends up. Hang on one second. Muscle cramps and feeling super tired, especially when you're in ketosis, that has to do, again, with the fact that you're depleted of minerals when you're in ketosis. Simply put, you're dehydrated. You've got to make sure you're replenishing minerals like crazy. It makes a big difference. Magnesium, potassium aspartate, that, yes, you could definitely be taking that. It's not going to break your fast. Bone broth would break a fast, but bone broth is a tremendous way to break a fast when it is time to break a fast. So I highly recommend doing that. And sorry, there's so many comments coming in. Someone asked if I know Jason Woodring. I know Jason very well. I know him personally. Jason's a good dude. He hasn't been as active on YouTube lately. His channel's kind of suffering a little bit, but I think he's got a lot going on. When's the best time to take MCT? Definitely going to be shortly after you break your fast. I don't recommend always just breaking a fast with MCT because it can be really hard on your gut. So what intermittent fasting protocol do I recommend? What do I think about 16-8? Yes, 16-8 is great for introductory, okay? Plain and simple. It's great if you're just learning how to fast because it's pretty easy to do. 16-8, in my honest opinion, is very similar to just what I would say the standard American diet is, okay, where you're just not eating breakfast and then not eating till lunch. But in my personal opinion, it's a great way to start. I'm a big fan more of like the 18 to 20. Simply put, when you're fasting, it's just easier to just eat less. One thing I do want to make sure that I make very, very clear with you guys though, and this is the coaching coming out in me. I don't really coach clients anymore, hardly ever, but it's still in my blood. I still love motivating and telling people. So this is my honest advice to all 900 people that are on this broadcast right now. Intermittent fasting is amazing. Ketosis is amazing. But the law of attrition tells us that it's very, very easy for us to start getting to a point where we're not getting enough calories. And as someone that has been dealing with a lot of injuries lately, I know that I've been letting my calories get too low. And I wouldn't be a good coach, I wouldn't be a good trainer, I wouldn't be a good instructor if I didn't tell you my mistakes and let you learn from them. Some of the mistakes that I've made along the way have been allowing my calories to go too low. Too frequent of fasting. Too little calories while in ketosis. Make sure you get those fats and get those calories up, because you will ultimately start having issues with your joints if you're not careful. Okay, you have to be careful. Does cayenne pepper bake a fast? No, cayenne actually would be okay. It's very, very negligible. You're okay in small amounts. Okay, so one thing that I start noticing if I go into ketosis for too long is the synovial fluid in your joint starts to dry out. Okay, you start to get a little bit, you start running into an issue basically where you're just no longer able to recover as well. We got some good questions coming in. I want to make sure I'm not missing out on these. Hang on really quick. Does cream of tartar break a fast? No, you're totally good. Someone said my food's tracked based on the daily recommendation allowance charts. A lot of food, and when I watch leading professionals in the keto lifestyle, it seems impossible they're reaching those eras. Am I missing something? It all depends on the person, to be completely honest. I'm a huge fan of, when you're in ketosis, keeping your calories the same as you would when you're on a regular diet, okay? And that's the place to start. But then work backwards from there. that's when you start adding in different things. That's when you start adding in the different nutrients to try to get yourself there, okay? You've got to, so start with just the calories first, then look at your nutrients and your micronutrients from there. The problem is that you're constantly going to be chasing different micronutrient deficiencies. You're going to be deficient in vitamin K, then you're deficient in vitamin E. And if you really try to eat such a balanced diet that you're satisfying all those micronutrient things all the time, you're going to drive yourself crazy. Try to look at your diet at a broader scale. Don't just look at it day to day. Try to look at what you can as much over the course of a week. What's going on in South Africa? Well, intermittent fasting is a teen stunt growth. You know what? That's a good question. I would honestly probably avoid intermittent fasting until you know that you're at least close to done growing. As a teen, you might want to be careful. Does fish oil break a fast? Technically, yes, it does. So you'd want to wait to consume your fish oil until after. It is fat. In fact, if you look, there is actually a calorie count. Does ghee break a fast? Absolutely, it certainly does. Any chance I'm going to low calorie brick? You know, I'd actually like to. I'd like to see if I could be a speaker there. Right now, I mean, it's so crazy with the baby and everything on the way. I haven't been able to do as much business development as I'd like to do. I'd love to be going around to some of these keto conferences and stuff. I'm actually in the works, just keep it kind of on the DL, but in the works of working with some people on creating a ketosis conference next May. That's going to be awesome. Going to be a really big ketosis conference, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. Does chai tea break a fast? Depends. Sugar-free chai tea will not, but most of the time chai tea will. MCT will definitely break a fast. Stevia will not break a fast. Metamucil fiber does break a fast. Lots of people asking good questions. If your body has an insulin response hitting to sweet things like your tongue, he has a good question. Sorry, Matt, you say, if your body has an insulin response to sweet things hitting your tongue, surely all sweeteners would break a fast due to insulin spike. Would you agree? Tremendous question, Matt. Really good question. And the thing is in theory, yes. So here's the thing. Your body starts to secrete insulin, but it actually does this thing called pre-insulin, where it actually creates sort of an insulin response within the body without creating a lot of insulin, basically just on something sweet hitting your tongue. You can actually condition yourself to get rid of that response. Not necessarily something I'm a big fan of, because it means you need to be having a lot of fake sweeteners or natural sweeteners. The insulin spike definitely, technically would break a fast. And I go air quotes because as far as insulin is concerned, that would break a fast. But it is such a negligible spike in insulin that it's really, I don't know. It's I have stevia in a fast. Maybe I'm doing it wrong. But the simple fact is, sorry, low battery again. Simple fact is, it doesn't seem to cause that much of an effect. Nothing like leucine does. Leucine, like the amino acid leucine, can have a big impact there. Guys, I'm going to have to wrap it up. What is too low of calories on keto? That's a tough question because it all depends on the person. You're going to know. You'll feel lethargic. You'll feel weak. Your joints will hurt. Definitely, you got to be careful there either way. Thought about lectins in foods. I suggest you go back. I did a video last week on lectins that people didn't like for some reason. So you might find some interesting stuff there about lectins. Keto bulking, that video is going to be coming up. St. John, what's going on up there in Canada? How long ketosis for one period of time? It all depends on the person. I try not to stay in ketosis for more than 6 weeks at a time before I come out for at least a few days. That's just my thing. Someone keeps asking about marijuana and keto. I can't really attest to that. I can attest to CBD, cannabidiol oil, which is a very good anti-inflammatory in conjunction with keto, so that's good. How do you get minerals in keto? Veggies, salt. Make sure you take in your salt so you retain more water. That's super important. Guys, I wish I could stay on here forever. If you guys can, comment really quick before I go, just so I have an idea, what time of day is good for these broadcasts? Do you like these in the evening time? Is it, if it works out well for you, just let me know, because I would absolutely love to be doing more of these. Try to do them once a week if I can. Let me show you guys something really quick before I go. Hang on really quick, okay? I've got to do something really quick. I'm going to unscrew my gimbal here, and I want to show you how awesome this gym is coming along. Hang on, check this out, guys. Okay, so this is the studio kitchen before I go. It's coming along really, really well. You've probably been seeing a lot more cool videos coming in. Probably modeling this off of a Jamie Oliver's kitchen, but giving it a little bit more of sort of a down home, sort of rustic feel. So it's pretty awesome. But those of you that haven't seen this, check out what happens when I turn around. It's like I go from kitchen to gym. So the gym's here, we've got everything built, everything's all set up. We've got, some dumbbells all the way around, dumbbells up to 100 at least. The mirrors are coming in next week. Got a big old leg press, nice big old squat rack. So be able to produce a lot of awesome videos, at least as far as workouts are concerned too. We've got the big cable machine, so we're all good there. So I'm just really happy to be able to have this, really happy to be able to have this space and being able to do some really cool stuff, giving you guys some awesome content in the future. The fact that I can go from kitchen to gym, kind of my dream. And I still have a dog right here. What's going on, Remy? Say hello. Guys, I better get home. I've got a wife that is probably wondering where I am. You guys are super awesome. Thank you for all the amazing comments and all the amazing engagement. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel. And if you can, comment what kind of videos you want to see in the future. And I will see you guys very soon.